can't handle the truth.
Without the Microsoft Cloud, games on the Xbox One will be lower resolution and frame rate than the PS4. I have so much facts in this video, it's going to destroy a lot of people. So for the Xbox fans that are pissed off that I'm about to expose the truth yet again, here's your time to do what you fucking do best. Dislike the fuck out of this video. Everybody else, let's get ready for this ride. It has just been confirmed, and I'm on the official Japanese Konami website. As you can see, there's some Japanese writings here and there, but I translated it in English thanks to Google. The PS4 version of Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain, is 1080p 60 frames per second. The Xbox One version is 900p 60 frames per second. If that sounds familiar, before I get started, let me scroll up and down so nobody can say, "Oh, that's fake, that's Photoshop or whatever excuses Xbox fans want to use to make themselves feel better, whatever helps you guys sleep at night." It's not. Konami has taken the liberty of helping all these journalists out by doing their own comparison of the graphics of the PS3 versus the PS4, the PS the PS3 versus the PS4, Xbox One versus Xbox 360, and they had some Steam PC stuff down here, but it varies depending on your gaming rig. I'm gonna go to these other articles that have also stated this after Gamescom that Metal Gear Solid 5 on the Xbox One is gonna be 900p and the PS4 version is gonna be 1080p. Here's VG247 right here, as you can see right there, 900p. The pattern, right? Here we go with the pattern. Assassin's Creed Black Flag, okay? One of those launch titles back in 2013 when the PS4 and Xbox One was out. 900p on the Xbox One, 1080p on the PS4. Alien Isolation, same resolution. Right here, Battlefield 4 and Hardline. 900p on the PS4, 720p on the Xbox One. Okay, let's see. Blacklight Retribution is exclusive, so it's not on there. But here we go with Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, right? The PS4 is native 1080p, but the Xbox One is upscaled. Call of Duty Ghosts 720p on the Xbox One, 1080p on the PS4 with a patch. Dead Rising 3 was a launch title. I don't believe it was used in the cloud, and because it wasn't, it only achieved 720p at launch before the updates. Destiny, same resolution. Diablo, same resolution. Dragon Age Inquisition, third party title. I believe it got a couple Game of the Years or was nominated. PS4 version, 1080p. Xbox One, 900p. If you guys are not understanding the pattern, I will help you guys out. The PS4 not using the cloud to achieve 1080p. But because the third party developers don't want to use the cloud on Xbox One, those games aren't achieving 1080p. They're not. That's just how it is. Another example. Stupid example, but hey, this is the Xbox One we're talking about. Golf Club. It's a golf game. 720p Xbox One, 1080p PS4. Go to another example. Here's some good examples right here. Lords of the Fallen, 900p Xbox One, 1080p PS4. Metal Gear Solid 5, Ground Zero, 720p Xbox One, 1080p PS4. Metro Redux. What the fuck is what? 912p on the Xbox One, 1080p on the PS4. This is the retarded shit that we're dealing with Xbox One. Without that cloud, it is useless. Middle Earth: Shadow of Mordor, amazing game. Love that game. 900p on the Xbox One, 1080p on the PS4. I went over this list before in a later video, but Xbox fans, I can't really depend on these guys to educate themselves because I know how they like to come to my video, dislike it, and run away because they don't want to learn anything. But not today. Now listen to this. This is funny. Microsoft paid all that money to EA to keep Plants vs. Zombie Garden Warfare exclusive to the Xbox One for a whole year. Came to the PS4 at native 1080p 60 frames per second. It was always 900p 60 frames per second on the Xbox One. Never got an update because, bam, you guessed it. EA is not going to use Microsoft's cloud servers all the fucking time. And no other third party developer is. Murder, Sole Suspect, 1080p 30 frames per second on the Xbox One, 1080p 60 frames per second on the PS4. Pro Evolution Soccer 2015, 720p on the Xbox One, 60 frames per second by the way, and 1080p on the PS4, 60 frames per second. Big difference. Xbox One, 720p, PS4, 1080p. No cloud. No cloud for these multiplats. No cloud. Shadow Warrior. Amazing game. Love the action. Love the gruesome blood, all of that shit. 1080p 60 frames per second on a PS4, 900p 60 frames per second on the Xbox One. Once again, that 900p. Without that cloud, it's not getting the 1080p most of the time. The game has to be really shitty. The Evil Within, I think everybody knows what that's about, right? 900p on the Xbox One, 1080p on the PS4. The Witcher 3, Wild Hunt. I think everybody knows what The Witcher 3 is. I have to continue with this video before I get to the Crackdown news. Witcher 3, 900p on the Xbox One, PS4 version 1080p. A game called Thief, 900p on the Xbox One, 1080p on the PS4. Once again, here we go. Tomb Raider Definitive Edition, 900p 30 frames per second on the Xbox One and on a PS4, 1080p 60 frames per second. The pattern is blatant. The pattern is real. What I say is real. Oh my god, look, what the fuck is this? What is this? Wolfenstein, The New Order, native 1080p on the PS4, upscaled on the Xbox One. But right here with Watch Dogs, what is 792p? It was 792p 30 frames per second on the Xbox One, 900p 30 frames per second on the PS4. So I couldn't even get the 900p. It was 900p on the Xbox, on the PS4, mind you, sorry. But it was only 792p on Xbox One. It's very confusing. Warframe, 1080p 30 frames per second on Xbox One, 1080p 60 frames per second on the PS4. Once again, the differences are real. The pattern is real. So when Star Wars Battlefront comes out, when Assassin's Creed, the newest one, I forgot the subtitle, comes out, Call of Duty Black Ops 3, I believe, comes out this holiday season, we already know they're being played on the PS4 and multiple different conventions around the world since E3. They have not been tested or shown on the Xbox One as of late, especially Star Wars, and I think Assassin's Creed 2. Majority of the gamers that buy those games, they normally buy it on the PS4, and those developers, those companies already know the PS4 is a major shareholder, market share. They have the majority of the market share, this generation. So more people are going to buy those games by default on a PS4. So contracts are fairly easy for Sony to do. Microsoft has to go dump money in the laps of some of these other developers to get these contracts done. And they're not doing a very good job. Once again, all this year, all last year, in 2013. Not a single Japanese RPG. Japan doesn't like them. They don't like Japan. They're not getting a good amount of games. Crackdown 3, right? Prime example of the list I just went over. Crackdown 3 destruction is multiplayer only. You cannot do the destruction without being online. but there is no indication that there is a single player offline. Then we go over here to this article talking about Crackdown 3 needs a ton of bandwidth to play online. With all that destruction, of course you're going to fucking need it. Third article about Crackdown, giving you the amount of connection speeds you need to play the damn game. Once again, it's using the power of the cloud. It is using the power of the cloud. I am not going to clap. I'm not going to have a fucking clapping animation. Because it is fucking sad. I've just owned all Xbox fans that were celebrating this shitty ass game and Forza fucking 6 last week. It is no fucking excuse for the bullshit that I've just went over. Your system is dog shit without the cloud. Third-party developers are not using the cloud. Your games coming from third-party developers, also called multiplats on your fucking system, are not going to be in 1080p. The biggest and best games that the generation has yet to give us, some are coming out this year, others got pushed back to 2016, 2017 is still going to be packed. Guess what? It's going to be the same fucking story over and over and over again. And I will gladly cover this shit to remind you guys where you stand.
It's all there, black and white, clear as crystal. So you get nothing. You lose.